So I get asked this quite a lot. Why do I sell trading cards? Why do I spend my weekend at random dead malls, flipping through cardboard, talking to people who I likely have never met before and likely will never see again? Well, a couple reasons. My name is Michael. This is Taco. I run Fable and Table Games, which is I've been here in the Massachusetts area. I run an online store, fableandtablegames.com. You can find me on Manipool, eBay, TCG Player, all the different places. And that is where you can find me. So, but we're talking about vending, card vending today. So why do I sell cards? So in my day job, I am an attorney. So I have a very stressful job on my day to day. And I've been practicing for 10 years now. And it is a job that I really love, but it is a job that is not necessarily, doesn't bring a lot of joy necessarily to people in the world, depending on what type of law you do. And I don't do the kind of law that brings joy. And I found that I needed an outlet. And I used to find that through trading cards. So I might still find it through trading cards, but I have played Magic since I was 13. My first deck was a blue-white artifact deck that had Skullclamp in it. It was from Fifth Dawn. And Skullclamp, if you're familiar with Magic cards, is a card that, among other things, gives your creature +1/-1. And if your creature dies, you draw a card. Some beneficial stuff happens. But I used to think to myself, why would you give your creature -1? That doesn't make any sense. I want to attack stronger. But since that day, okay, Taco, okay, you're done? Okay. Since that experience, I have played Magic on and off through high school, college, law school, my adult life. There was a period where I traveled to Grand Prix. I never made it super far. I made it day two a couple times. Maybe just once. But I was usually the guy who was, winning into day two, and I ended up losing. But as I've gotten older, I have noticed that my time and capacity to really take Magic or other competitive card games seriously to the extent I want to has diminished through choices I made. I have, like I said, I'm an attorney. I have a loving, beautiful wife. I have 2 cats. I have a kid on the way, due literally any second now. So I no longer have the time to dedicate to grinding the latest, or grinding on Magic Online or Arena, I guess, and poring over the latest results and things like that. It's not something that fits into my life anymore, and that I choose to fit into my life anymore. And going to a local card shop to play Magic on a Wednesday night, and spend 3 or 4 hours playing 4 matches sounds fun, but like a poor use of my time overall. So I wanted to find another way to engage in the hobby. And during COVID, like a lot of people, got really back into collecting Pokemon cards. Still do. I'm working on master setting my base set, my base jungle and fossil sets, first edition regular, and then shadowless, the base, and then the 4th print of the base set as well. So that is something that I really like. I go to a Pokemon card show. That kind of got me into the kind of trading and vending side of the hobby. I was going to shows and collecting and trying to get cards at Target and all that. And it was a ton of fun. And I found during one of the most stressful periods of my life, between my job and COVID and what's happening in the world, that it brought me a lot of joy, and it brought me a lot of nostalgia, but it also brought me a lot of realization, like, oh, I can just collect Pokemon cards as I want to. Like, I don't have to be a kid to do that. I like them, so I'm gonna collect them. Cool. And I couldn't really go play Magic during COVID. So as that progressed, I started to sell some of my personal collection on TCG Player. I started level 0 and ground up to level 4. And I was just amazed. I would list cards and they would sell. And I was listed, at the very under market. This is like one of the first or second listings on TCG Player on purpose, because I wanted to get velocity and get sales. And I sold like $800 worth of cards, $900 in 1 year. And I was like, cool, that's awesome. But I realized that I am too much of a lawyer to not pay my taxes. So I reported my taxes, and between the shipping supplies and taxes and this and that, like, I broke even. Like, it just wasn't worth my time. Because I didn't have any basis. I didn't have any basis for my income because the hobby deduction is not a thing anymore, and it wasn't at that time either. So I had to report all $900 of my income, and that's X off the top plus supplies. It just didn't make sense. So I stopped, but then I noticed that I had like kind of a missing piece in terms of my day to day. Like, I couldn't go play Magic, or I chose not to, and it just left kind of a hole. So in 2024, I had been through a lot in the last couple of years before that, and I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Like, what's the worst that happens? Nobody buys cards for me. I waste the filing for an LLC in Massachusetts. Sure, why not? So it was actually July 3rd, July 4th, 2024. I established my LLC, Fable and Table LLC, and got a business credit card, opened a business bank account, and really started to take it very seriously. That was 2 years ago. And I have found such joy through this hobby. I have connected with people that I never would have met otherwise. I have, phone numbers of people that I met through card shows that I originally just did some business deals with, but now have become friends, and I text about all kinds of stuff. Bert, one of my regulars, got me a baby gift, which was so kind, and such a thoughtful thing to do. I have people that I see all the time. I have people I do deals with. It's been really, really cool. So I do it for two reasons. One, the social aspect. Being somebody who, let's call it three reasons. One, the social aspect. Being somebody who, I work kind of an isolating job. I work remote, which is awesome and a blessing in many, many different ways. But I'm very isolated, very siloed. I'm the only attorney in my company. So I spend a lot of time looking at the screen, reading, and then telling people things they don't want to hear. So it's hard. And I found going to shows and getting out and talking to people, being at the table, even if it's just kids who come up to my table and I give them some cards out of the dollar binder, it brings me a lot of joy. And connecting with people, discussing the cards and what commander they're playing and why they got back into Magic. So many people come up and tell me that they got into Magic because of Avatar, Final Fantasy, Lord of the Rings, like things that my old man Magic self was like, Universes Beyond, this is nonsense. I'm gonna take my SpongeBob and play my Sonics. But as I've seen what it's done for the community, I've really come around on it. I think it's been a really good boon for the community itself. It's been a very nice social experience. To the business aspect, it's freaking awesome, man. Like, I think that the business aspect of the hobby is such a cool and unique way to engage with the hobby in a way that, I'm not out here making millions, like, obviously, but I get a lot of value from the other parts of running my business, from feeling like I'm in charge of my own destiny. Like, if anything goes wrong, like if I make a bad decision, that's on me. If I do something that doesn't end up making profit, or I take a loss on something, that's totally on me. And I can't blame anybody else. I can't say, well, I'm the guy who owns the company, that guy's a dumbass. Like, I could do it better. But I don't, it's on me. And I think that's really, really cool. And it's been a good way to engage with the hobby that's not necessarily just playing cards. And it's led me to play more Commander. I play Commander with my friends online now, on Spell Table, and that's been a really cool way to re-engage with the hobby. But third, and I think this, for me, is what's kept me doing it, because those other two things are great, but I can do those a few different ways. What's kept me doing this is I realized that I really have a passion for it. And I think that not only do I get a lot of joy out of these interactions, I see that it gives people joy. And honestly, from me, like, sometimes, yeah, it's the interaction with me, but it's the interaction with the guy at the table. Like, a kid comes up and is looking at my cards, and I give him a couple of cards out of the dollar binder, and then he spends a couple dollars to get a few more, and he leaves with like 10 cards, and I give him a team bag or whatever, and the guy next to him who's looking at the table, grown man, says, "Hey, I have this extra booster pack. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Do you want it?" And he opens it, throws it in his team bag, and it doesn't matter what he got. It's the greatest thing ever. And that's really cool. Hearing people talk about how they re-engage with the hobby, like through Commander or whatever, is awesome. And I think that I, combined with the fact that I love the business side, I think there's an opportunity to do something in this space that scales really well, that can eventually lead to doing this full time for me, and can lead to chasing a dream of, opening a card stores. Like, I don't want to aim for one. Like, I want to run this as a business, and I want to franchise. But I do think that there is a model out there that would allow for just more than one local store where you just take in your community's cards and sell them back to the community. I think there is something out there that would allow for stores in multiple cities in your state, multiple states. I mean, the sky's the limit. Like, the hobby's growing so rapidly, and there's no real big store out there that does things like that. And I think it's very scalable if you find the right business model. And I think that challenge and that puzzle, I think, is what's keeping me here, and why I'm starting this YouTube journey, and why I'm talking into my camera that's propped up on my Ricoh FI8170, which we'll talk about later. Anyway, that's 11 minutes and 29 seconds of me talking about feelings and not cards, and a little bit of cards. But if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, do whatever, or just like don't and never watch me again, that's fine too. Whatever floats your boat. Visit me at fableandtablegames.com. Buy stuff so I can support my baby.